Good evening to one and all present. Welcome to today's webinar on Pathways to Reading. I, Beverly Court, thank you for your presence today and look forward to delivering an enjoyable session. Deep down in our hearts, we all have the potential to become avid readers, book lovers, bibliophiles, bookworms, and voracious readers. We hope that today's session will inspire you to ignite your imagination and curiosity to dive into the world of literature. They say that curious readers are grateful leaders, and to feel grateful is truly blissful. It makes one content and happy from within. So, let me and my delightful co host, Miss Ruchika Sopti, take you on a pleasant journey as we explore the splendors of reading. Let us find out what makes reading novels and stories so wondrous and full of magic for both adults and children alike. On that note, let me introduce our honorable guest for today's session. We have with us Mrs. Shutapa Mukherjee, who is a proficient journalist. She has worked with Outlook News magazine, Associated Press, Agency French Press, as well as BBC. To add to her diverse experience, she has also served as a co-principal at Amrita Vidyalam in Durgapur. She calls herself an ardent teacher and an avid reader at heart. It is an absolute pleasure to have you with us, Shatapa. I would also like to introduce our young speakers for this evening. We have with us Hardik Mahar and Shaurya Mishra from Class 5. Welcome to both of you, boys. We would love to hear a few words from Shatapa before we dive into today's topic. Over to you, Shatapa.
Good evening, everybody, and I'm really glad to be here. Well, my earliest memories of books are those that my ma would hold in her hands while reading out enchanting stories to me. A tiny little girl, maybe somewhere around 3 to 4 years of age, I still remember being transported to different lands along with the protagonist. Such is the magic of books. And still, like that tiny tot, I get lost in different worlds, both of fictions and non-fictions, even today as I turn the pages one by one. My habit of reading I attribute majorly to my parents, our social setup, and our friends. Baba was never sans a book, news magazines, or newspapers. Gifts meant books, be it from parents, relatives, or friends. So much so, even till date, my school friends gift me books. The more you see, the more you read, the more you hear, the more the curiosity, and the more you read.
Thank you for your kind words, Shatapa. On that note, we will be sharing a short video from YouTube channel uploaded by TEDx Talks, posted on 21st November 2018, where Luke Backett Pollock is speaking at the TEDx Youth TBS Warsaw. Here he is sharing his experience.
Great readers make great writers, whilst great writers make great communicators, and great communicators make great persuaders. And you know what great persuaders make? They make good societies, and that's what this world needs. I think that it's totally crazy that all anyone ever talks about is games, TV shows, WhatsApp, Instagram, Bitmoji. I don't even know what that is. My brother just told me about it. WeChat, Kiki. Saraha, and I could go on forever. Studies have shown that some kids these days even spend 6.5 hours on a screen a day. I think we should draw attention to this problem. However, not reading can even result in making your brain less active or engaged. Just over the past year, I've enjoyed reading Winnetou by Carl May, the Harry Potter series with 8 books, Roald Dahl series with 12 books, and the Unwanted series with 7 books, and many, many single books in between. Some I've liked less, some I've liked more, but they all took me for such an adventure. Ask my family members. I'm a truly unhappy child when I don't have a good book to read right next to me. I love reading in places like my bed, on the move while walking, in the toilet, in queues, in vehicles, but more importantly, at home. I hide behind various corners of my house so nobody can find me and make me do anything else. Once I even hid behind a flower pot, pretended to be the flower, not moving at all. Nobody could find me for ages. It was hilarious. I read everywhere. So, for all of you skeptical people out there, let me tell you, when you have a good book to keep you company, there is nothing better in the universe. It takes you to places where you can't go, and lets you meet people you can't meet. Reading is love in action. And the positives are endless. Like, I usually never have to study for spelling tests, and it makes my vocabulary so good that it easily impresses any grown-up. Sometimes, the first thing I know is I've just had a short conversation with the grown-up, and the next thing I know is there's a room full of adults talking about me. I can't imagine my life without a book. What I'm comparing is the lost art of reading, writing, communicating, and persuading to some of the great societal ills of the text message, the tweet, and the snap. While these wonders of modern technology have their place, we, the young generation, have to hold on to reading. It's the key to our kingdom. So go out there, find a good book, not just any book. The best are the ones recommended by another kid, and just go for it.
That was 9-year-old Luke. What a great video sharing the highlights of the joys of reading. Let's see what Ruchika has to say about reading.
Good evening, everyone. I think we all understand that reading good books guides and uplifts us. It shapes our thoughts, habits, and makes us more knowledgeable. In fact, Dr. Swees once wrote, "The more you read, the more things you will know. The more you learn, the more places you will go." Diving into a good book opens up a whole world of imagination, and this definitely has to start from a very young age. According to scientific studies, exposure to vocabulary through reading not only leads to higher scores on reading tests, but also higher scores on general test of intelligence for children. Plus, stronger early reading skills may mean higher intelligence quotient later in life. To be honest, I do not see any downside to reading. Reading is a great hobby to have, and all of us should make some space for it in a schedule. So I would like all of you to think about how much time you spend on reading every day. When I say reading, I'm not referring to WhatsApp messages and mindless scrolling on the internet. We are talking about newspapers, textbooks, essential books, and magazines. So come on, participants, write on your responses in the chat box and tell us how much time you give to reading in a day. We are waiting for your responses. Vanti ma'am is saying 1 hour. Nice. Come on. Hours. Preeti ma'am, 3 hours. Very nice. Bhavika ma'am is saying an hour. Wonderful responses. Everybody's reading. I feel the habit of reading has already been imbibed in our participants. So thank you for your responses. Keep it up. Over to Beverly.
In fact, according to the experts, one should read for at least 30 to 60 minutes for 5 days in a week. People who have achieved great heights in their life have all been good readers. Along with how much time you dedicate for reading, what's important is the kind of books you read. By reading the right and effective books, you can learn more about what you can't learn by reading irrelevant books. The benefits of reading are way too many. So let's talk about why we are stressing on this habit so much. On that note, let me invite our student speaker, Hardik. So tell me, Hardik, what do you think are the benefits of reading?
Good evening, ma'am. everyone present here. Yes, I think reading is wonderful and a very enjoyable activity. I always feel smarter after reading, as if I have learned something new. So it definitely improves brain power and knowledge. They say that reading is a jogging activity for your brain. And I love that saying. When a brain gets a regular workout, it stays fit and even improves our memory.
Wow, Hardik, that's definitely a great metaphor. Thank you for sharing that with us. Next time I read a book, I will say that I'm jogging my brain. I feel like reading is a great activity to escape from our boring and dull routines. It is a great way to relax and unwind. What say, Beverly?
Even I completely agree with what Hardik said. Reading improves memory power and even keeps diseases like Alzheimer's away. It improves our mental strength and improves our vocabulary. Through regular reading, we can improve our attention span and concentration levels. It's also a way to keep our minds fresh. What do you think, Shutapa?
I totally agree with you. Reading is essential not just for mental strength, but even for our imagination. When we read, we need to pay attention to and follow each word, which in turn helps to hone our memory skills. There can be no doubt that reading improves our memory, our vocabulary, and knowledge with time. All of these then contribute to our communication skills. It also needs to be pointed out that as our imagination gets more powerful, we are comfortable and even enjoy being alone. Imagination makes our everyday mundane life very, very interesting. The fact that reading also familiarizes us with different cultures, religions, personalities, and even places is equally exciting and important. Learning about the world we live in, the people in different climes, and their surroundings not only enlightens us, but also helps us to be more empathetic and tolerant towards all. Summing this, we may easily state that reading also has the capacity to improve the quality of our relationships with others.
Absolutely, Shutapa. Very well said. Now let's quickly highlight the obvious benefits of reading. We will share a slide with you.
Well, in a nutshell, I can say that the habit of reading can make a person an eloquent orator, well-informed individual having self-identity and inner contentment. It not only enhances analytical and thinking abilities, language development, but also improves focus and attention. It helps to connect with others, relaxes the mind, and also keeps oneself calm. So now let us invite Shaurya of class 5. Shaurya, you're also an avid reader. Tell us how you came to enjoy reading so much.
Good evening, ma'am. So I actually started reading naturally. My parents are also avid readers, and seeing them reading all the time, I also picked up the habit. I enjoyed it a lot, and I would spend long periods of time digging my head into different books. My parents would talk to me about different novels, and I began to love stories. My uncle and grandfather are journalists. Hence, all my family members always encourage me to stay updated with news. I observe my uncle and grandfather carefully. The way they take notes for their stories inspires me to do the same and make my own plot for the stories. Actually, apart from reading, I also enjoy writing. In fact, I even published a book.
Really? That's unbelievable. You managed to publish your own book at such a tender age. That is an incredible achievement. Congratulations, Shaurya.
Yes, hearty congratulations to you. Why don't you tell us more about this, Shaurya?
Sure, I would love to. The name of my book is actually Space Mafia on the Loose. I chose that name because it gives me an idea about the plot of the story. And the genre of my book is actually science fiction, as the story is based in space. I find sci-fi very interesting. With sci-fi, I can be as creative as I want, and I can let my imagination run wild. The main character in my story is actually a person named Red Crewmate, who is the leader of a jewel thieves who are on the run to steal diamonds. Writing is my hobby, and when I wrote this story, I did it out of my passion. I was not looking forward to get it published or anything of that sort. I was just, practicing my hobby, but it was my father's idea to get it published and give it some recognition. It was a very easy process actually. You just have to sign in to KDP on Amazon, then click on publish soft copy. My parents helped me with this process, and that's how I published my book. I would like to thank them. I would like to thank them for helping me with this, and I have dedicated this book to space lovers.
Wow, Shorya, that was definitely something. Through this achievement, you have inspired all of us to do something extraordinary with our hobbies. If there is a passion in your heart, you can truly achieve anything. I have seen that people who enjoy reading also come to enjoy writing. And when we follow our hobbies passionately, achievement will surely follow. Thank you for sharing this with us. It indeed makes us very proud and happy. To you, Beverly.
Yes, I too feel very proud of you, Shaurya. Keep up that good work. So, Hardik, tell us something about yourself. What do you enjoy the most about reading?
There are many things I enjoy about reading. One thing is that I love imagining and creating scenes in my mind as I continue reading. In my mind, I create a small movie as I read. When my mom narrates stories to me, I enjoy imagining it. I also feel that due to reading, my vocabulary has improved and I'm able to express myself well. Now I feel confident and comfortable in talking about any topic. I am a big fan of Sudha Murthy. She is also able to express herself very well and encourages everyone to read. In fact, her vision is that every school should have a library. Thanks to this vision, 70,000 libraries have been set up so far. That's wonderful. She has even written many books, and one of my favorites is How I Taught My Grandmother to Read. In that book, she says there is a difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is boring, whereas in solitude, you can reflect on your action and thoughts. That is something new I learned. And when I think about my own life, I feel that solitude is best felt while reading an interesting book. So I enjoy learning different words as well as topics. And of course, what makes any book interesting is its characters. My favorite character is Mr. Willy Wonka from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I also love his sequel, Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. I like Mr. Willy Wonka because he makes such unique machines, hand over his entire factory to a child, create new things, and outsmarts everyone. I want to be like him because he inspires me and I want to be as creative as him.
Well, that was definitely interesting. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is definitely a favorite book among many children. In a child's life, books surely play a huge role. And I think Shaurya and Hardik have highlighted it quite well. Shutapa, I would like to know from you. You have been working as a journalist. So what role does reading play in your field? And can it be beneficial in other professions as well? Over to you, Shutapa.
Well, Beverly, I have a very clear-cut philosophy, which I'm sure many in my work area would also have. You can never ever be a good writer if you do not read. Reading helps me to get a variety of opinions and perspectives on different subjects, incidents, and even personalities. This helps me to further analyze for myself and then reach a conclusion. It is extremely important to develop this analytical temperament, especially for writing editorials, which include op-ed columns, or for that matter, even if one wants to write a book. And I would like to also mention here, it's not only in my area of writing or in journalism, in other fields also, if you read, like we've spoken about it earlier, you develop the skill of communicating better, and you also have you know when to use what perspective, and you also start developing a very good analytical mind. So all of that helps in any profession you talk of.
Very rightly said, Shutapa. Reading does improve one's career and prepares you for success. It broadens one's mind and makes one successful at work. Regular readers know how to spend their time wisely. They spend their free time doing something that will increase their brain power instead of mindless scrolling on the internet. They are careful with their time, a trait that is very important in the workplace. It is easy to see why avid readers are successful at work. With all the benefits that come with reading, it is surprising to know that many professionals don't read much. It could be because of a busy schedule, but I'm sure all of us can spare 20 minutes a day to take up some reading. This could be done before bedtime or somewhere during your lunch hour.
Absolutely. We waste so much time on the internet these days, and that time cannot be recovered. If you are on the internet, make sure that you spend much of the time reading something worthwhile. Don't just do meaningless browsing, which is why I say waste time. It does not necessarily have to be a physical book, but you have to increase the amount of reading what you're doing. We need to put our phones down and pick up something to read. The newspaper might seem like a good place to start, but do not forget to read something light-hearted and creative every now and then. I would even suggest reading blogs dedicated to subjects that interest you. Search for editorials on topics of your choice and read them as well. For seniors and adults, and even seniors, school students, college students, there are several academic websites that help in research on any subject you can think of. Then there are those sites with book collections, which we call archives. I would request all of you to visit these sites time and again. Trust me, soon you'll be hooked to learn more and more. The journey can never end, Beverly.
That is great advice for all our participants. We will surely try to stick to such recommended sites and find a suitable book for ourselves.
Listening to the two of you, I cannot help but wonder, how can we find a suitable book for ourselves? I think this is something a lot of people struggle with. There's so many options available in the market. We have thin books, thick books, books based on imagination, books based on real stories. Sometimes we start off a book on a very interesting note, but soon we get bored of it. So how do we find that perfect book? Shutapa, can you help us out?
Well, finding the right book is surely very important. Otherwise, you will not feel motivated enough to finish reading it. I think it helps to pay attention to what is currently happening in your life sometimes, not always though. Are you about to enter college? Did you just have a breakup? Or have you just gotten into a relationship? Are you going to be a parent? Whatever's going on in your life, there is always a book to reflect it. And here I'm not talking of self-help books. I'm even, I'm also referring to fictions, okay? Upon reading it, you'll be able to connect and empathize with the characters, and everything will make sense because somewhere you are also living a very similar reality. So always keep in mind what you're currently going through and what your likes and fantasies are. When choosing a book, try to get an idea about how fast the book moves. Is it going to be a page turner, or is the story going to drag on and on? Look at the cover of the book. Does it appeal to you? After that, don't forget to check out the inside flap and see if you like the plot description. Most importantly, and this is what I do most often, go to the net and read up the reviews on the books that you have on your mind. If you have friends who like reading, ask them if they have read the book and give their opinion on it. So if you research the book online and see the rating and reviews it has received so far, it really helps. Sometimes you would also like to follow an author, which is not a bad thing at all. Most avid readers actually do that, and that really helps.
Well, these are some great tips indeed. Speaking of genres, there are many genres that the literary world has to offer. Could you tell us more about them?
Well, genre is basically a style of writing. Let me brief you about some of them. The first one is a literary fiction, which is usually character driven, as opposed to being plot driven. It usually follows a character's inner story. Example, The Great Gatsby and To Kill a Mockingbird. Then we have mystery, thriller, and horrors. Stephen King, Arthur Conan Doyle, John Grisham, Dan Brown are well-known authors of these genres. We also have historical fiction novels which take place in the past, romance novels which focus on the love story between two people. Leo Tolstoy and Walter Scott are renowned for their historical novels, whereas Jane Austen is quite popular for a book centering around the theme of marriage. Another interesting genre is Bildungsroman, which portrays stories about a character who grows psychologically and morally from youth into adulthood. This literary genre originated in Germany. Bildung in German means education and Roman means knowledge. So putting these two words together, it would mean a novel of education. Generally in Bildungsroman, characters experience a profound emotional growth as they set out on their life's journey, encounter conflict and transform into a mature person. Jane Eyre and Great Expectations are widely popular Bildungsroman books. Then we also have science fiction and fantasy novels which are set in an imaginary universe. Popular examples of fantasy are Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and of course Harry Potter. For sci-fi, we have Frankenstein and Fahrenheit 451. I would also like to mention here that we even have non-fictions. And in non-fictions, real stories are written. It could be history. For example, it could be description of a particular war, a particular event, and of course, biographies and autobiographies. So when it comes to genre, there are many, many options available.
Thank you so much, Tapa, for sharing that. It was indeed helpful. Let's look at a table of genres and book recommendations. In these slides, we have seen some of the genres for children as well as for the adults. We can be benefited with that in selecting the genre of our interest. So, Beverly, if we have to summarize, what would you say are the qualities of a good book?
I think a great book is one that has won many awards, boasts of brilliant reviews, is on a recommendation list, and has a gripping story. Of course, the characters we should be able to relate to. The book should be written in a way that is not confusing and should have a satisfying ending. I am definitely going to keep these in my mind when I go book hunting, but I would say that don't be afraid to explore newcomers too. When choosing a book, it's important that you follow your heart and your mind both, depending on the genre you wish to read. Exploration always leads to great discoveries.
Certainly, books have many varieties, and exploration is the key to finding out what to enjoy the best, not just in terms of genre, but in terms of choosing between physical books and ebooks. Yes, with the advance in technology, we have seen a shift from physical books to electronic books. Physical books have their own timeless attraction, but in recent times, a lot of people are moving towards electronic books. Let's find out more about them from Hardik and Shaurya. Tell me, Hardik, what do you feel about this?
I think that the pandemic has played a very big role in the popularity of ebooks. We have spent a lot of time staying indoors during the pandemic. As a result of being indoors, our lifestyle has also changed and we have developed new interests. Although many readers have shifted to ebooks, I personally enjoy physical books more. For me, avoiding my screen time is very important. I think physical books are great companions We do not need them to connect to any network to read them. I like how we can hold them in our hands, smell the pages, and turn every page physically. It helps me make a connection with the story. The texture of the book, the cover page, all that gives me a special feeling. With the book in my hands, I get less distracted. It allows me to fall asleep easily at night. I could call it a natural sleep inducer. What do you think, Shaurya?
Actually, no doubt. Physical books are great, and just like you, I too enjoy reading them. But actually, of late, I have been exploring ebooks, and I have to say they are a great choice too. I can have a large collection of books on my device that I can carry everywhere I go. This collection hardly weighs anything, so it is actually easy to carry, And I can buy books online, even read them anytime, anywhere. What I love the most about ebooks is that they have an inbuilt dictionary. Nowadays, e-links are also available on Kindle. This causes much less strain on the eye, and so it is very convenient. Let me share a funny incident with you. One day when I was switched on my Kindle, I wasn't able to find any of my, downloaded books. My favorite books were lost. I started to panic a lot, and I got angry also. Just then, my sister barged into the room and actually screamed at me, "Why have you taken my Kindle? Your Kindle is lying in my room." And suddenly, I realized that my book collection was not lost. I had just taken the wrong device. That's when I realized that I'm very possessive about my Kindle and all the stories in it.
I agree with both of you. We can have a quick look of the difference between physical books and ebooks right with the slide here. Now you can see the difference. The physical books refers to the printed books and the ebooks refer to the digital books. Now physical books, of course, have space as storage, but ebooks have memory as storage, whereas the printed books are higher in price compared to the ebooks. Not to ignore, physical books need maintenance, but ebooks require no maintenance regarding their wear and tear. We don't require any device for printed books, but for ebooks, we need a device like a computer, a laptop, or a mobile. Ebooks are very helpful during travels, so both have their own importance. I too love physical feeling of the books, but I feel that one should not stop at that. We can have a mix of both. For example, I use hard copies at home, but I use my Kindle while traveling just because it is very convenient.
So, Beverly, ma'am, I'm extremely impressed with these budding authors, readers, and it's very interesting to see that young students in your school are deep into the habit of reading. I'd really like to know what activities does your school take up to foster such a beautiful habit, such an important habit, if I could call it that.
Yes, I would like to say that we at Delhi Public School, Bhopal, have the vision of shaping local learners and to fulfill our mission of seeing students become empowered 21st century citizens with inquiring minds. It's important that a habit of reading is instilled in them at a very young age. Hence, we invest great efforts towards the same. To develop interest in reading, we have taken up a number of activities. Ruchika, could you help walk us through these activities, please?
Sure, Beverly. It has always been our concept to allow children to read books in their spare time while in class. Whenever children complete their work before time, we allow them to spend those few extra minutes reading their favorite books. Sometimes children discuss their favorite stories with their friends and exchange books with others. We have even encouraged them to maintain a class library. Having a class library has been very successful. We have seen a lot of reluctant students actually walk up to the shelf and help themselves with a book. This is really an achievement, doesn't matter if a small one. We also have students with self-study. It is great to see students make use of their free time to read and even enjoy that time. Hardik, why don't you share your experience with us?
Yeah, mom. I really enjoy reading period in school and I look forward to carrying different books to school and sometimes even flaunt them. Ever since our school has shifted to online mode, it has made an e-library for us, which we can visit virtually. I'm so glad that I still have a chance to read, even when I'm physically not visiting the library. My friends and I feel very lucky. We practice book review sharing. We share what we have learned from the book. Apart from that, we have a vibrant online bookers club in which all book lovers get together to read and share book reviews. We also do various activities related to books. This group is open to all teachers. Whoever is interested in reading can join. Time to time, literary activities are also conducted.
That's great, Hardik. It makes me very happy to know that you are enjoying reading activities at school. Before we move further, let's have a look at the activities that the children have done. Children have written book reviews after reading a book. Children came dressed up in their favorite characters. They have performed readers' theater. They made bookmarks on the caption of reading and so on. Now, Shaurya, what do you think about school activities and how do you think they have helped you?
So actually in our class, we have something called English speaking drive. So actually as a part of this drive, we do a lot of activities to improve communication. For example, we have creative writing, where we are given a list of words. We have to form a story using those words. Everybody has to share what they have written, and actually at the end, the best story wins. We also have dialogue writing, where we are shown a picture, and below the picture are some dialogues. We have to extend the dialogue and finally read it out in the class. This is a very interesting activity, and I look forward to hear what everyone has written. Some stories are really, really funny. Then we also have something called Reader's Theatre, where students practice reading a script with proper modulation and intonation of voice. It gives student a real reason to read aloud. I feel more confident about practicing this way, and I have been able to read better.
I'm so happy that you're benefiting from these activities and enjoy them so much. At school, we put in all our efforts to cultivate the joy of reading in children. Reading expands and enriches the personality like a seed that germinates after a long time and sends forth many bloom-laden branches. Each and every book can be life-transforming if we learn to see the meaning in it. Shutapa, can you tell us what book have you read that changed your life or had an impact on you? We would love to know.
Well, that's a very difficult question, as I've read many, many books, and each one of them have actually added meaning to my life in some way or the other. But there's one book that I would say has changed my life, and that is Gratitude Diaries: How a Year of Looking on the Bright Side Can Change Your Life by Janice Kaplan. In this book, the author spends a year living gratefully and transforms her marriage, family life, work, and even health. She beautifully explains the true meaning of gratitude and how it is an attitude which everyone should imbibe and have. It teaches us not to compare and always appreciate what we have. It makes life not only enjoyable, but also very worthwhile. No matter what happens in one's life, one must never forget to count his or her blessings, as that is ultimately what keeps us all going.
Wow, that sounds like a great book indeed. Thank you for sharing that with us. I cannot wait to check it out. The benefits of gratitude are many, and they have been documented even in the field of psychology. What do you say to it, Beverly?
Yes, I agree totally. However, it is a wonderful coincidence, Shutapa, that you have just mentioned this book, which portrays that gratitude is the best attitude. And in this month, we are also practicing gratitude, and we have kept it as the value of the month. I would like to share a small anecdote where a grateful person during the pandemic reached out to people voluntarily and read out many books and stories just to uplift their spirits. When I heard this, my heart filled with warmth and I felt inspired to do something like this to help others. Now, reading may seem to be an individual activity, but it has the power to unite communities. Over
It is
to you.
really very inspiring. Even scientific studies have shown that people who are more grateful in their approach and lead better life. And in terms of physical health and improved sleep, but being grateful doesn't come easy to some people, especially in troubling times of stress. So anything you want to add it up, Beverly, in this?
Yes, Ruchika, even in my class, I tell students to read more and more books and also make a note of any act of gratitude that they may have read. And then they come forward and share it in the class. This is how my students correlate the value of the month with reading. As we come to the end of this interesting session, we would like our guest, Shutapa, to share with us a final summation of all the exchanges we've had so far.
Thank you so much, Beverly. Thank you, everybody. Well, I too would like to first extend my gratitude to all of you for having me here this evening. It was a wonderful experience. This is the way I too can be a part of your school's value for the month, right? I think you teachers and the institution is doing a great job, a brilliant work to inculcate reading habits among children. I was most impressed with the concept of an online school library, a library within the classroom, and a book club. I feel all of you haven't missed out on anything to inspire students to read. And I love the way they dress up like the characters, their favorite characters. So they actually live what they're reading. And it's a wonderful thing. It's something that, it makes it real for them. The fantasies, the histories, people from different worlds. It's something that you've really, this is a wonderful concept. I've really not seen many schools do this. Maybe I'll share it with many schools now. No wonder you have a young author to your fame also. Most importantly, reading initially may seem a task, but once you stick to it, it becomes a precious and interesting hobby. No other habit can completely satisfy you as compared to reading, like our two young panelists also mentioned today. In a book or story, you meet people, go places, be part of conflicts, resolutions. You even become part of history or a fictitious world of make-believe. In fact, your mind conjures up the characters and places for you. A story, I would say, is like a painting with words. We are lucky to have the internet, and let me tell you, once you get into the habit of searching and reading on the net, you realize how little you actually know. Go deep, dive into the ocean of knowledge, and fill your minds with the best pearls of words from there. Simply said, I would like to repeat: read, read, and keep reading. Thank you.
Thanks, Shutapa, for enlightening us. Surely it has transformed our thought process. In just a few days, we will be welcoming a new year with gratitude in our hearts and a new hobby of reading in mind. Let's embrace it and make it the best year of our lives. On that note, let me conclude this webinar. I would like to thank our esteemed guests, our student speakers, and participants for joining us today. We hope that this webinar will bring out the inherent reader in you and elevate your life. Good luck, everyone, and best wishes for Christmas and the coming year 2022. Yali ho!